What's the worst ghosting experience you've ever seen? It's been 347 days since my neighbor's son asked me to check on his mom for just a few days and then vanished without a trace. Maddie said he was traveling for work and would be back by the weekend, but that weekend turned into 11 months of radio silence, while I accidentally became his mother's full-time caregiver. The first morning I went over there, she answered the door wearing a heavy winter coat even though it was July, and she stared at me like I was a burglar. I had to explain 3 times that Maddie sent me, and she just kept nodding, but her eyes were completely blank. I opened her fridge to make her dinner and gagged. Green fuzz covered what used to be cheese and milk that had expired 3 weeks ago sat curdled in the door. Fruit flies swarmed around a bowl of what might have once been bananas. After seeing that mess, I ordered food instead, hoping I wouldn't have to do this for long. But then those few days turned into weeks, and Maddie stopped returning my calls completely. I was basically trapped because I couldn't just abandon this confused elderly woman, but I had no idea how to take care of someone with dementia. I was working from home and trying to manage her medications, which were literally scattered around her kitchen in random containers. She would take pills multiple times or forget to take them at all. I was terrified she was going to overdose or have a medical emergency on my watch. The worst part was watching her struggle to remember basic things while still being this sweet person who would apologize constantly for being confused. She grabbed my hand one afternoon and said, "Lottie, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you to visit." I didn't have the heart to correct her, so I just squeezed back and said I was glad to see her too. I later found out Lottie was her dead sister's name, and somehow my name Maureen must have sounded close enough to her. Some days she would cry because she couldn't remember where she put something, and I felt completely helpless. I started sleeping with my phone next to my pillow because what if she fell in the middle of the night? Every creak from the apartment above made me bolt awake, wondering if she was wandering around confused. Months went by, and Maddie had basically ghosted his own mother. I tried tracking him down, but his phone was disconnected, and his work said he was on extended leave. When I was 10 minutes late one day because of traffic, Mrs. Lillian was standing in her doorway crying. "I thought you left me too," she said, clutching my arm so tight it left marks. My personal life was in shambles because I felt obligated to help her. I missed 3 work deadlines because I was at her doctor appointments. My sister stopped calling because I kept canceling plans. My apartment looked like a disaster zone because I spent all my time at Mrs. Lillian's place. I had to learn everything from scratch, like how to help her shower without her feeling embarrassed, and what to do when she got agitated at night. The hardest part was watching her good days become fewer, and her bad days get worse. She would sometimes not recognize me at all, and would be scared that a stranger was in her apartment. Those days broke my heart. After almost a year, Maddie suddenly showed up at my door like nothing had happened. He was tan and looked like he'd been living his best life. He started talking about putting her in a home and selling her apartment like these were just business decisions. I wanted to scream at him, but Mrs. Lillian was right there looking terrified. The awful part was watching her not recognize her own son while clinging to me like I was her lifeline. Maddie slammed his hand on the kitchen table and said, "Mom, you know who I am. Stop pretending." Mrs. Lillian shrank back against the couch and she started sobbing. She whispered, "Please don't yell at me. I don't know what I did wrong." She kept asking me to make the scary man leave and begging me not to abandon her. Maddie accused me of manipulating his mother and said I had no legal right to interfere. He threatened to have me arrested if I didn't back off. But Mrs. Lillian was sobbing and calling me her daughter, and I knew that forcing her to go with someone she didn't remember would be cruel. I told him he had forfeited his right to make decisions about her care when he disappeared for a year. I think the reality of what his mother had become finally hit him when she genuinely couldn't remember who he was. He broke down and admitted he couldn't handle seeing her like this. He signed the guardianship papers and said he would send money but couldn't be involved in her day-to-day care. After he left, Mrs. Lillian asked if we could go home and watch our stories together like we did every afternoon.